So the first thing is that I'm given BC is parallel to AD and angle B is congruent to angle D. So that's very easy to just kind of bring up. So this is just a scoot activity. And I'm going to tell you guys all the steps and reasons that you need are here. You just need to put them in order. Okay? Everything's here for you. Make sure you read the angles correctly because that can get a little confusing. But outside of that, you've got everything you need. All right, so now I know that BC is parallel to AD. What I am going to do is I'm going to mark that. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, I'm marking those two parallel to each other, and I'm marking these two as congruent. Now, this is automatically telling me that I got to prove these triangles using one of the four criteria. I know it's not going to be side, side, side because they're not going to give me an angle I'm not going to use. So I am right now down to side, angle, angle, or angle, angle, side. Okay? So that's one way to just eliminate some, one of the criteria. Now looking at this, I see here that there's only one side I can really prove of these triangles, and that's AC is going to be congruent to AC by the reflexive property. All right, so I'm going to grab this. Here's AC. And there's my reflexive property. Okay? So I know for a fact that this, ooh boy, come on now. This is congruent to itself. Okay? So now looking at this again, is there any other side I can prove congruent without a doubt? Yes or no? No. So side, angle, side is out. Now the other thing I need to look at here is, well, I have an angle all the way over here, and one thing that I know for sure is that for this to work, this side better be touching that angle, right? But is it? No. So that's angle, side, angle isn't going to work either. So I am left with only one congruence criteria that will help me, and that is angle, angle, side. Okay? Now this is leading us into the next part of what other angle can we use here? Well, that's when I'm going back to my parallel line rules. Because if I have a parallel line here and here, or that's my set of parallel lines, and this is acting as my transversal, I see that this angle and this angle are what? Good. Alternate interior angles. So there is definitely my next step right there. Now the question is, which one of these do I use? Do I use ACD is congruent to CAB? Or do I use BCA is congruent to DAC? Well, let's see. If I have A to C to D, A to C to D, does that match the angle I have here? A to C to D? Oh, I'm sorry, I went the wrong direction. That's a B, sorry. A to C to D. Does that match? No. So I know it's not that one, so it's got to be BCA to DAC. And if I check, B to C to A, that works. And D to A to C, that worked for these two. So those are my two angles I need to use. Okay, so now if I'm just going to get some lighter colors here. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. All right, so I have this triangle that has this angle, and this side congruent. So there's my angle, here's my side, and then I have this triangle, again with this angle, and this side. Are these two triangles congruent? Yes. So that's what I'm going to state next. I'm going to state, hey, these two triangles, ACD is congruent to CAB by angle, side angle. Questions on this? Okay. So now that we have these triangles, now we can talk about, hey, how am I going to prove that AB is congruent to CD? All right, I'm going to clear the screen just to kind of free up the space a little bit. Okay. Now, if we look at this, I can see that my overall goal, so I just worked one direction, now I'm working to just finish the proof. My overall goal is to prove that AB and CD are parallel, and so I have to assume that that's my transversal. And this is leaving me with this angle is congruent with this angle. What's my reasoning? Yeah. That would be the last step to prove them parallel. So it's what? Yeah, I'm proving these two angles congruent by CPCTC because those are the angles that we did not use for the top part, right? But will these two help me prove that these are parallel? Absolutely. So I know without a doubt that angle ACD is going to be congruent to CAB by CPCTC. And now that I know that those are congruent by CPCTC, the only thing left for me to do is to state that this is parallel to this by the converse of alternate interior angles theorem. Questions? What do we got? This is actually a much better video than the one I had for 4th hours. I'm going to use this one instead. Anything? Okay. So you are going to have some proofs tonight. This is your homework. And yes, I'm taking it for accuracy because you have a ton of time to do this. Okay? Now, some of these are very simplistic. You're just proving the triangle's congruent. You might apply a little bit of CPCTC. That's the one we did. This is where it this is just more CPCTC, so this isn't too bad. This one is, again, more CPCTC. You are starting with equality here, so just be careful of that, okay, because you're not going to be able to use congruency statements on these. So you are going to have to use, like, definition of congruent angles and things like that. This one, though, they're telling you this is your tip. If they're telling you that these two triangles are congruent, so I'll just highlight them. So this one is not bad. It's just requires a little bit more thought. So we have VWZ, so V to W to Z. They're saying this triangle is congruent to YXZ. So if those two triangles are congruent, without you writing that statement, what can you automatically apply with these two triangles? So I'm writing it out. If I write it out, oof. Okay. What can I automatically apply now to get other things to help me out? Good. Yeah, you can apply CPCTC in order to get these other triangles, which is, let's see, it looks like V to W to Y. So there's one. And Y to X to V. Okay? That one is not horrible, and remember what I said. Everything you need is here. Okay? You just need to put it in order. logical order. So you might have to use CPCTC a few times in order to get what you need. Okay? Questions on that? Give it a shot. What's the harm? Anything I can address for you guys? Okay. Then that's it. I will post this and get going on your homework. Let me know what questions you have.